Open your hearts and welcome. In my first video, I said that changes are headed our way and that our openness to growth will enable us to embrace with loving hearts the blessings that the Lord is working among us today. Two of these blessings include the New English translation of the Roman Missal, which we will begin to use starting the first Sunday of Advent this year, and the implementation of training in natural family planning as a required component of marriage preparation in our diocese beginning in 2012. In this video, I will discuss two further aspects of the ongoing growth of our church. There are many newcomers in our midst, and we have twice as many seminarians as 10 years ago. The Lord has many blessings in store for us. Open your hearts and welcome. Open your hearts and welcome to the newcomers in our midst. Open your hearts to welcome those who are inquiring about our faith and those in RCIA preparing to enter the church. Open your hearts to welcome immigrants and to thank God for them. They are an important part of the present and future of our church. Open your hearts to those who have chosen to retire in our beautiful natural state, and younger people who have relocated here and now call Arkansas their home. Open your hearts to welcome back those previously inactive Catholics who are now, perhaps for the first time in their lives, getting to know Jesus personally and returning to the practice of their faith. We all know what it is like to be a newcomer and how much it means to receive a warm welcome in the place that we call our new home. And there's no place more home for a Catholic than our parish church. Let me tell you about an exemplary Catholic named Genevieve Carleton. She was part Potawatomi and French and Dutch, and attended St. Elizabeth Academy, a school for Native Americans in Purcell, Oklahoma, founded by the future St. Catherine Drexel. She married a non-Catholic from Hollis, a town in the far southwest corner of Oklahoma, in a county in which there were practically no other Catholics. The nearest church was 45 miles away. Due to her religion and her humble origins, she never was really accepted by her husband's family, which was one of the most prominent families in town. She was a courageous woman who lived her faith sincerely and passed it on to her daughters, who at the time were the only 3 Catholics in the local school. One of the things Genevieve prayed for most fervently was that through some miracle, God might establish a Catholic parish in her town. And lo and behold, in the early 1960s, a large group of Mexican migrant workers moved to Hollis, and she realized that God had answered her prayers. I don't have the time to do justice to her remarkable story, but what most stands out in my memory is that the more Genevieve became aware of the appalling conditions in which these people were living, the more she became a crusader for the human rights of the disenfranchised. She worked hard to improve their living conditions and get them medical care. She helped them enroll their children in school and prepared them to receive the sacraments. She helped people sort out misunderstandings and was simply being there for them as an advocate and as a friend. She regularly visited the barracks in which people were living in subhuman conditions. She talked to them about the Catholic faith and got a priest to come to celebrate Mass, first in a home and then in a theater, and finally they were able to build a small mission church. She knew from her own bitter experience what it was like to be treated like an outsider, and the big difference that one warm-hearted, courageous, welcoming person can make. especially a person who was courageous enough to speak up and defend their rights. The people stayed, and Our Lady of Guadalupe Catholic Mission continues to thrive today, in part because this simple, faithful woman opened her heart in welcome and let God use her for his purposes. And the love was reciprocal. By the time I knew her, Genevieve was 75 years old and godmother of half of the parish. And she didn't even speak Spanish, but she did speak the language of love. Open your hearts to welcome God's call in your life. Another group of people who have opened their hearts to let God use them for his purposes are the 35 seminarians and 3 discerners presently studying for the priesthood for the Diocese of Little Rock, 4 of whom will be ordained to the priesthood this coming spring and summer. This month, we celebrate the work of Bishop John B. Morris. In order to accomplish his priority of ministering to more Catholics and to reach out to non-Catholics, he needed more priests and opened St. John's Seminary in Little Rock 100 years ago. The seminary opened in September 1911 with a mere 10 students. Some of you will recall that our diocesan seminary was closed in 1968 for lack of vocations. 2 years ago, we were able to open in a rented house in Little Rock a house of formation for young men discerning a vocation. We outgrew that house, and I am now happy to report that we are in the process of remodeling the former convent at Good Counsel Parish in Little Rock to serve as our permanent house of formation going forward. It will also serve as a gathering place for all of our seminarians when they come home from the seminary, and as a center to promote future vocations among those who have just begun to discern God's call. The people of Good Counsel have opened their hearts to welcome our seminarians, and our seminarians have opened their hearts to welcome God's call in their life. How about you? 1/3 of our priests in active ministry are over 70 years of age. And even if all our current seminarians get ordained, we will still have a shortage of priests. Open your hearts to welcome God's call in your life, whatever it is. All of my 4 priorities for our diocese for the next 18 months are also highlighted in the recent issue of the Arkansas Catholic. In addition to regular subscribers, all registered households should have received the special bilingual issue in the mail in the past couple of days. I encourage you to read this issue, subscribe if you are not already, and ask others to do the same. Our award-winning newspaper is my primary way of communicating to you about the new and exciting projects happening in the church in Arkansas. Open your hearts and welcome. Changes are headed our way, and our openness to growth will enable us to embrace with loving hearts the blessings that the Lord is working among us today. The new Roman Missal, training in natural family planning as a component of marriage preparation, the blessing of newcomers in our midst, and the blessing of the Lord's call in our lives. In these and many other ways, the Lord has blessings in store for us this coming year. Open your hearts and welcome.